Hello friends, welcome to another episode of I Play Games and Film It, and welcome to Free Thought Fridays. It's the end of the week for a lot of you people, and a lot of you people, it's not the end of my week. I'm not going to lie guys, I don't really have much of a topic this week. Yeah, I know I said I was going to do American culture and stuff, but I'm going to lie to you, I am exhausted. I probably look it right now, I'm so tired. I've just done a 10-hour shift, which, I mean, you know, it's not the longest shift in the world, but it is when you're kind of missing a member of staff and stuff. So I'm basically just going to kind of free flow, and do a little race of 5 laps of the Cape Ring in my GTR 07. Oh, I've got to stop doing that. And just chill, really. Just relax. It's on manual. I don't care if I want to lose. I just want to relax, take it easy, and just one thing I am quite. Oh God! One thing. Oh God! Oh God! What's going on here? Why is it? Oh dear. Oh, okay. One thing. Oh, the gear stick's broken straight away. Excellent. Relax, Dan. Ooh, woosah, woosah. Yeah, one thing I'm annoyed about today is that I'm pretty sure GT6 was supposed to arrive, which it hasn't, so I'm quite upset about that, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I even checked Amazon and said it was going to arrive today, and it didn't, so that upset me quite a lot. Considering, you know, I was kind of hoping I could use it for my Free Thought Friday today. I was hoping I'd be able to do an introduction and then get some, like, licensed tracks going so you could all watch that. But that's not going to happen either. So yeah, it's a bit sad. First gear! Wow! I am high on tiredness. This is incredible. Yeah, as you can see, I'm really not trying. I'm not doing my best here. This is terrible. Yeah. Just relaxing, just taking it easy. I'll tell you what, actually, one thing I will say, because today was quite a... I don't want to say landmark. It's not a landmark. It doesn't make any sense. A benchmark? No, it's a... It marks a notable moment, I want to say, in my working life. For those of you who don't know, I work in restaurants, which probably doesn't surprise any of you. I work in restaurants. At the moment, I am a restaurant supervisor, and I fucking hate my job. It is rubbish. Yes, I would rather be a waiter again, and I miss being a waiter. I miss serving tables. I really do. As a supervisor, I don't get to do so much of that. Well, I mean, I say that. I do, but not as a waiter. The reason I do is because right now the company is strangling our labour budget so heavily that I'm forced to manage sections and serve tables at the same time. Not manage sections, manage the restaurant and serve tables at the same time, which... if in the layout of things, it's not good, and it's not ideal. Not the scenario that I think any paying customer deserves to be served, because it means there's like half the attention paid to the table, and it's embarrassing to me because it means that I'm not able. I mean, I've done waitering for 10 years, right? I'm kind of in and out, on and off. I've worked behind the line, I've worked behind the bar here and there, so you know, I've kind of done my fair bit. Not fair bit, actually. No, I haven't done my fair bit. But I've done a fair bit so far. And I've set myself a certain standard. I certainly am proud of the standard I'm able to deliver at the table. I'm quite proud of the standard of service I can give. I know it's not the best, but I know that I can give a very good standard. What frustrates me, and I'm sure everyone will understand, when you know you're able to meet a certain standard, right, and you're quite proud of it, and you think that other people would actually be quite impressed with your standard, and you actually are physically unable, well, physically in any way, unable to provide that standard of service, or standard of work, and people judge you as if to say, you know, that wasn't very good, we expected more, and you're there like, well, I can give you more, but I need to first break the shackles of my other role that I've got to do at the same time, so I'm very sorry about that. And it's a little humiliating, it's a little embarrassing. Worse so, because, and this might annoy some of you actually, I didn't want ever to be in restaurant management. It wasn't something I ever wanted, because it may be different in other parts of the world, but in the UK, my understanding of restaurant management, going from waiter to restaurant management, or supervisor, or assistant manager, anything like that, generally transfers from more hours, more stress, more responsibility, and less money. That's literally it. And that's how it always has looked to me, because that's how I've always seen other people go into the role. That's always how I've seen other people transfer into that. And with that means a lower quality of life, a lower quality of health, just a lower quality of well-being. And it's never looked like something I've ever wanted. On top of that, I've never taken a massive interest in the paperwork side of things. Again, those of you who worked in restaurants, it is incredible the amount of paperwork that actually needs to be done in your average restaurant. I mean, you're thinking about, for us, there's things like eligibility to work, there's all the health and safety files that need to be filled out by every employee, there's all the, well, yeah, I guess health and safety is one of the big ones. There's obviously the food safety, food and hygiene certificate, if it's not been done already, there's the eligibility, yeah. There's a form you need to sign to serve alcohol, and these things need to be updated and they need to be kept on file. Obviously there's national insurance numbers, passport numbers, blah blah blah. That's a one-off thing. And then if you've got uniform, you have to hand out uniform, and then you have to kind of get everyone to sign a little piece of paper saying, I've received this kind of uniform, and if I lose it, then I have to owe the company this much money. And it's so boring. It's so long, and then every day it's count how much beer there is in the restaurant, count how much wine there is in the restaurant, and then put that on a big database so that the company that owns you knows you're not stealing from them, and and all this stuff that, to be honest, I'm not even ashamed to say I don't care about. I just don't care. And it's not to say that I don't care that we might get robbed or that we'd lose things. It's just, it doesn't interest me in the slightest. The only part of working in a restaurant that interests me is the human interaction, the face-to-face chat, the not the bonding, but just the socializing, the talk, the making someone's night, entertaining someone. That's the part that I like. That's all. I don't care about the paperwork. I don't care about the legal jargon and blah 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 blah. Leave that to someone else who wants to care about that, because I don't. I really don't. Having said all that, I'm a little concerned about the state of restaurants right now, and maybe this is just within my world. I could be wrong, but it's certainly a few things I've heard, in areas around me, is that it seems to me that restaurants, certainly restaurant chains, are pushing harder and harder to get the volume in. And when I say volume, I'm basically talking about you, Mr. Joe Public, the general public out there, into their restaurants and getting bums on seats and the turn and earn or turn and burn system, which I think is, different depending on where you are. That kind of thing, where I don't think it's so much about, it might be unfair of me to say, but I don't feel it's so much about the quality of service and, really making sure that person spends their time in there and enjoys themselves and has an evening out. It's a case of them, get them in, sit them down, give them a drink, give them some food, get the bill, and then get them fuck off. That's it. And that's basically it, because that's how they'll be able to maximise their profits and certainly then minimise the labour costs that are weighing quite heavily upon the businesses at the moment. And it's a shame because, well, the situation I'm in, I can't tell you where I work, and I don't want to, because it means I wouldn't be able to talk about it at all. But, I mean, where I'm at the moment, we have a scenario where the guys who are overseeing our restaurant, the area that we belong to, are pretty much telling us that we can barely have enough people just to serve tables that come into the restaurant. We're not allowed to have the staff on the floor because they can't afford it, or because we can't afford it. So they're literally telling us that the customer service they're expecting us to provide needs to be given, even though we're unable to do that because we simply don't have the human power to do so. We don't have enough people to provide that, because all it takes is for one extra table of say 4 people or 5 people to walk into that building, and immediately everyone's service quality drops. Everyone's. And the unfortunate thing of that is, I know now all too well that, again, Mr. Joe Public, and this is no fault of theirs, it's not their fault, won't necessarily be so aware of why, and nor will they care why. They'll just be upset because suddenly you're not readily available to serve them. You're not suddenly readily available to get them a drink or get them a bill or get them clear their table or something. You're not there anymore because all of a sudden it's got busy and you don't have the power to to see everyone as much as you'd like to, because there's extra people there. And then the quality drops immediately, and then suddenly you start getting complaints. And this is all real scenarios. This has all happened. Next thing you know, you've got complaint letters coming through. The standards have dropped. Things have gotten worse. Oh, I had a bad time when I came in the other day, even though usually it's great. What's happened? We don't want to come in anymore. And then, of course, the complaints come back to the restaurant. Oh, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And you're sitting there going, well, you're not allowing us to put the manpower on, and basically kind of not allowing us to give the quality of service you want us to give. And so people come in, they don't get the quality, they complain to you, and then you complain to us as asking why. And it's like, well, you pretty much told us that we couldn't have 3 waiters on the floor when we needed it. You told us we could have 2. So yeah, and that I mean, that's a whole other thing. I'll be honest, okay, I earlier in the year, I was working in a restaurant, so from before March, sorry. I worked in a restaurant for a year where everything was actually very, very well handled. I realised why is because it was in the first year of opening, and all they wanted to do as a business was basically not really care so much about labour and make sure that they got the initial clientele in and built that kind of rapport and good relationship with the guest, so that you had your regulars coming in, because at some point they were going to start strangling the labour and lowering the quality of everything, which is what's happened, to be honest. In that time, I noticed some huge differences in the way that they operated and the way that other restaurants operated. And it was a case of ensuring that we had the right number of staff. It was a case of making sure that people were taken care of. It was a case of really putting that attention into every tiny little thing that took place. Almost to the point where it was, real service, where it's not a matter of responding to problems, it's a matter of being so proactive that there are no problems, that you see the problems before they even arise, and that's how it operated. And I don't know what happened, or what the catalyst was, but then I started writing a book about it, and it was kind of about service and about how things should go and how things can go. And the overarching statement of the book was simply communicating. It was simply a matter of communication, and with that communication there is the essence of trust, which I think has unfortunately lost a little bit, or certainly can be, between the server and the guest. Not as much as it used to be, but I still have these moments where you try to be honest with people and they seem to think you're lying to them for God knows what reason, which is nonsense. But it seems, for me that certainly is where it all lay. It was all based around communication, and it was just about being able to talk to people and explain to them what was going on. And some people might disagree with that, because when someone goes into a restaurant and you say to them, just to let you know, really sorry, we're a little low on staff, so things are a little delayed at the moment. Some people might not consider that good customer service, because you're basically telling them that you're disorganized, or that something's wrong, or that something's not going well. And yeah, there's an essence of truth to that. However, if I walked into a restaurant and I wanted to be there, and I want to have dinner there, I want to try out their food or whatever, and I walked in and they told me that straight away, that'd be fine. I'd be okay with that. I'd be like, fine, thank you for letting me know, because that means that I wouldn't wonder what the fuck's going on when I'm sat here waiting for my meal longer than I should, or waiting for someone to come to me longer than I should. But then, I have the advantage of having worked in the industry, so when I walk into a restaurant, I immediately look around and go, are the waiters running around, or are they walking around? Does it look like there's a lot of people waiting for something? What's the mood like? What's the general atmosphere like? Is it busy? Because that might mean that maybe the quality of food isn't going to be as great as if it's quiet, because the chefs don't have as much time to take care of what's going on out the kitchen. Or certainly it might dictate how fast it comes out of the kitchen. All these things that I understand will kind of suggest how my meal is going to go just the moment I walk into the kitchen, into the restaurant. But not everyone has maybe that intuition, because either they haven't worked in the industry, or they simply don't do it like that. Bollocks. But that's what I try to do, and that's in my book. That's what I encourage people to do, because sometimes, really, it's unfair to say it's obvious to us because we're working in the building, but sometimes I have seen people walk into scenarios, and you know, if you've had 3 people walk past you and every single one of them's gone, I'll be with you in a moment, I'll be with you in a moment, I'll be with you in a moment. Yes, that's not good customer service, that's not good service. However, what that's also telling you is that right now, 3 people have walked past you and all of them are suggesting they do not have time. They don't have time to see you and sit you. So to me, that would say, don't go into that restaurant. Don't go into that restaurant, because either they're fucking rude or they simply do not have time, which means you are just going to be more time that they don't have to spend with, which means your service isn't going to be great. Simple, done. You know, it's tiny little things like that. One thing that's really starting to get on my tits lately, actually, is that because restaurants are suffering quite a bit with their income and their profit, the pressure's being put on those working in the site, and it kind of makes them desperate. Now, a restaurant should never be desperate, really. It's a bad scenario when restaurants get desperate, because we are talking about food and drink here, and you know, when you're pumping that out to the masses, things can happen and things can change, and it can be quite scary how they can change. I won't go into detail, but it's not a good place to be. You always want to be in a comfortable restaurant, because some decisions can be made that just shouldn't get made. But when people make snarky comments about how we're missing out on their money, or how they'll spend a lot of money, or anything that would suggest that they're basically buying us like we're whores or prostitutes, I find that hugely disrespectful. Because the idea really, and this is one thing that may be lost in England, perhaps, and one thing that's really upset me is the fact that I remember working in restaurants when a restaurant was there for people to go to, and people could, it was like a welcoming of people going, yes, come to us and we'll take care of you, as opposed to people going into restaurants and going, I fucking own you, I'm your boss and you're my bitch, so I'm going to dictate how things go. And essentially the restaurant then loses control over its customer base, and people come in and they start just taking the piss everywhere. And unfortunately, I have seen in restaurants that are so desperate for sales that's what happens, and they fall for it. They fall to it, and the restaurant ends up getting screwed over for it. And that's kind of upset me as well. I don't know what the hell I've talked about for the last 10 minutes, but my God, have I talked. Wow. I have talked. Oh God, I've talked for like 20 minutes. Jesus. Oh wow. Okay, so yeah, that's basically. I'm tired, and I wanted to talk about that. So I've talked about work. Yay! If it is indeed as boring as I seem to think it was, then I'm sorry. If you've actually taken some interest in what I've said, then that's awesome. That's great, and I'd love you to leave a comment in the box, or just let me know if you guys if any of you work in restaurants, if you have done, if there's anything that I've said that may have roused some interest at all. Just let me know. But ultimately, I do still think, on top of everything, it should always be about communicating and observation as well. Definitely, it shouldn't have to be about threats or passive-aggressive behaviour, which is very, very common in the kind of restaurant customer relation. It's so common, it's painful to watch. There doesn't need to be any of that. Communication, observation, proaction, just general organisation as well. And it is, can be a bit of a two-way streak. You'll see a lot of the time when waiters or restaurant workers will complain about certain guests. It might be unfair to complain about the general public, because to be honest, the general public pay our wages. They're the reason we have the job in the first place, so we can't really moan about them so much. But at the same time, for a general public to get the most out of a restaurant experience, it is literally as easy as just being observant, being nice. I know that's cheesy, and I know it's cliche, but my God, you have no idea how far being nice goes. No idea. It's incredible. I probably shouldn't say this, but I have gifted many things to people who are nice to me. Because there's one problem is, when you work in restaurants, you're not allowed to have a bad day. You're not allowed to be seen to have a bad day. Some people take that liberty anyway. I have. But you're not allowed them because, you know, you're customer facing all the time. You can't have someone come into your restaurant and see you're grumpy or miserable because you've ruined their day essentially. So you're not allowed that. You can't have a bad day. So when people are nice to me or patient with me or anything like that, when I want to have a bad day and they won't let me, and they're just that little bit more chatty or friendly or whatever, suddenly I'm just like, do you know what? This person could be pleasant, so why the fuck can't I? That's great. You've made my day. I'm happy. And it's very fickle, but honestly, it's that easy. And they just being nice goes a hell of a long way. I mean, you think about it on your day-to-day basis anyway. But wow, I really need to stop talking. My God. Right, anyway, so that's it. I'm sorry it's not been like a really kind of anything deep or meaningful or anything like that. It's just a ramble. But, yeah, that is all. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I've hit 50 likes on Facebook, and I know that's not like, oh my God, 50 likes. But that's really cool. Thank you so much for liking the page. I'm growing on Twitter, but I don't know if that's legit growing. It's weird. Yeah, I'm getting more subscribers again. It's a slow progress, but it's great that you guys are leaving comments. It's great that you guys are subscribing. It's great that you're watching. Thank you. I love it because I've just passed I passed 500 views in the last kind of day or so, and considering, you know, it's not a great number of views per video, I'm still really proud of that. For this seemingly small but actually great achievement for me, thank you so much. Really couldn't thank you enough. But guys, have a wonderful weekend, have a wonderful week. I'm going to drink a bottle of wine and pretty much sleep for 20 years. And yeah, you guys take care. Much love. Bye-bye.